you are over 40 and thinking about having a baby, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Jill. I had a baby at 43 and now he is a whole 14-year-old teenager. I'm going to give you, from my perspective, the real and the raw of having a child over the age of 40. What the doctors don't tell you, at least from my perspective. All right, so I am making myself a cup of sage tea, and you might want to grab something to drink and have a seat because this is going to be a good one. We're going to talk about what is it really like to have a baby over the age of 40. Y'all, first off, I'm going to go way back to my 20s. And I did not think that I wanted to get married or have a child. I was afraid, one thing I was afraid I would be like my parents. They divorced when I was very young, and my mother just wasn't the type of mom that should be a mother, right? She would like to do what she liked to do. She liked to go out, she liked to do all the things, and she really was thinking more of her own life and her dreams, her hopes, her dreams, and having children didn't always fit into her plan. I knew that I wanted certain things in life. My thought was I was going to be, that jet setting, go to college and get the job and do the things and travel the world. And a man and a child just did not fit into that mold. It wasn't until my late 30s, 36 to be exact, when I got married, and then I started thinking about, okay, having children and revisiting that thought. I had to have a real conversation with myself first. Was that something at that age that I could handle? All the things, talk to my doctor. And the first thing your doctor's going to say at age 36 is that you're going to be high risk. Your labor automatically high risk pregnancy. So did all the checks, all the things. I was good. Got pregnant, lost the baby. And in fact, I lost 4 babies. I'm going to take a sip on that one. I had 4 miscarriages. There really are so many things that you have to think about when you're deciding to have children, no matter what age you are. But again, you are labeled high risk once you are over a certain age. And I was labeled that, and I did lose the 4 babies. And at some point I had to tell myself, before I turned 40, because I'm at this point reaching age 40, and I had to really ask myself, do I want to try this again? So after my 40th birthday, decided, yeah, I'm going to give this another try. And this is it. This is the last. I'm not going to put myself, my body, mentally, emotionally through this again. And so gave it one last shot. And actually before that, I actually went to fertility doctor. I didn't use the fertility, any fertility methods other than natural, but I went to the doctor to find out, and this is for y'all that's military. So I was on a military base at Fort Hood and asked the doctor there, I was referred to someone, and they will help you even with adoption up to age 40. I believe it's age 40. Comment if you know different or if it's changed, because this is some years ago, and it may have changed since. But what I was told then was that they could have helped with fertility up to age 40. I was already now past that. But what they did do is she prescribed me a pill, and I can't remember what it was at this time, but she prescribed something for me that would have made me ovulate more. And she said, listen, this is the risk that you are going to run, is that you could potentially have multiple births. And I said, I'm willing to take that chance, right? If it means that I have 2 or 3 babies and they're going to be healthy, and there's no guarantee to any of it. But I had to reach my cycle first. And after my cycle was over, I was supposed to take this pill that would help me to ovulate more. Cycle never came. Went to the doctor and said, ma'am, I need you to take, they're going to do a blood test and a urine sample. Gave both. You're pregnant. I was like, what? Yes. So the problem was never me getting pregnant, it was holding the pregnancy. After the last miscarriage, I was real nervous, right? And so I knew after some research that some women have found success with using progesterone. So I asked the doctor, is it possible for me to be prescribed progesterone? And they prescribed for me the suppository form. And I used it, and I can't tell you if that is what worked for me, but he's here. The other thing that I did leading up to that pregnancy with my son is I got my body in the best shape probably that it had been in since I was 18. I was exercising every day. Mind you, I was on a military base, so I'm watching everybody else exercise at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, I would get up and do the same thing. Then I would eat so clean. I mean, like clean. I would make this soup. It was loaded with folic acid. I used lentils were the base. Lentils, carrots, celery, like the whole Mariquois, green onion, green peppers, all the things, right? Just loaded with vegetables. And I would eat this soup. I would make a big pot of it, and I would eat at least a little cup of it every day. And very lean, very clean, whole vegetables, no preservatives, no prepackaged foods, none of that during this particular time. And my body was clean, tip-top shape, right? Yeah, I was already pregnant. And I mean, I was on my hands, knees, praying every day. God, if this is meant to be, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. And on February 26th of 2011, he was born. And 14 years old. He's now 14. 14. And it still baffles me. Every birthday, I'm like, how? How is it that I have a child? I've kept this kid alive all these years. So, but I wanted to share with you one quick thing that I also used through my prayers through those 9 months, because I carried him. And what's interesting too is that I was on a military base. I quit also, mind you, I quit my job. I was driving into Austin, Texas. So I was in Killeen, Texas. I was driving to Austin, Texas, which is 60 miles one way. And I was running a company, a marketing company there. And stressful job. I was like, you know what? I need to, if I'm going to do this, I have to de-stress myself. I quit the job, took a job. They made less money, probably half the amount of money, but I was I didn't have to drive anywhere. I was on base. I lived a quarter mile from where I was working. I could literally see my office from out of my kitchen window. And I could walk if I wanted to, but baby, it's Texas. We ain't walking in that heat, right? So I quit the job, de-stressed myself, and that was one of the best decisions I could ever have done. That office that I worked in, I worked under a general and a colonel, and it was a family like environment. I had about 4 other female soldiers were working in that same building and were pregnant. They were younger. I was 40, my early 40s. They were not even, I think one turned 30 during the time that she was pregnant. And they would laugh at me. So that's another thing you have to go through. People calling you old lady having baby. I had all the jokes. So when you gain the weight, you're not going to be able to lose it. All of the jokes. And then after I gained about 40 pounds. And oh man, how you going to lose that weight? Baby, I not only lost that weight, thank God for the government, the military at that time. There was a program after I had him. There was a program to help you lose weight, but I'll get to that in a moment. So during the pregnancy, those same females that were pregnant as well and younger, one of them had children already. So she was comparing this pregnancy, of course, to her previous pregnancies. She thought it was going to be as easy. She ended up sick all the time, had a C-section. The others also had a C-sections. I was the only person that gave natural birth, and I was never sick. They started making jokes that, oh, you still here? Like, you're not going to take leave? I worked up until 2 days before I had my son. They were like, man, we're going to have to put a bucket under your seat. I'm like, y'all make all the jokes y'all got to make. Make all the jokes you got to make. Because, you know what? I'm still going to have this baby. So, time came. If you know anything about military base, there are a lot of babies that are born. And with Fort Hood being the largest, there were about 200 babies. I don't know, 200 a month or 200 a week. There were a lot of babies being born. So basically, you were on a waiting list to get a bed to have your baby. So I was actually scheduled, if I did not go into labor before a certain time, we were going to schedule induction, for me to be induced. And that's what actually ended up happening. I got induced, and that on the 25th, February 25th, that next morning, 8 o'clock, his head was out. Boom. 5 pushes, he was out. No complications, nothing. So I laughed, I smiled, because I asked the nurse, well, what am I supposed to do with him now? She's like, lady, you gotta take him home with you. Oh, yeah. Then learning how to use a car seat, the strollers, all the things. I was like, man, this is a lot of work. But with that came, you have to fit that child into your lifestyle, right? Now, it depends on what type of mother you're going to be. What type of parents are you going to be? I decided that I wanted to still do all the things that I was doing, and baby was going to have to fit into my lifestyle, not the other way around. And that's exactly what I did. He went to everything with me. I didn't stop. I still traveled. His first flight, I didn't put him on a plane until he was 4 months old. But we did things locally. And I went back to work. I had leave, But I went back to work at, I want to say when he was 5 weeks old, because I could have still taken leave, but I went back early. I was losing my mind, y'all. I am not the type of person that can just sit at home. I cannot. Lord, if that's you, bless you. I just can't. I can't. And I went back to work, put him in daycare. He was right on base, so I could see him at any time. And he was right there on base. I know it was secure. And that's where he was at 5 weeks old. And I went back to work. And they were like, "What are you doing? We gave you extra leave." Come to find out, I had not just 6 weeks, I had 12 weeks of leave. They honored me with additional leave. I was like, "Thank you, but I'm back at work and I'm good. I'm okay." Then I found out about an exercise program that the government had for federal employees. And basically, you got 3 hours per week. The beauty of it, of being on a military base, is so many gyms. And there was a gym right downstairs of my office. In my actual office space was a bathroom. So the other females who were pregnant around the same time had also given birth to their babies. And when they came back, they would also use my bathroom and use my office, for lactation. So they would pump in my office. But I was able to just change my clothes right there in that bathroom, then go downstairs, work out. And so I worked out before I came to work. I got the baby ready. We would drop him off. Then I would come in to work. I work out after work. I go pick up my baby. Then I would finish working out, stretching at home. On Saturdays, the gyms, there was a daycare. You could take your child to daycare on Saturdays because, military don't stop, right? So they had daycare on weekends. So on Saturdays, I would take him for like 2-3 hours to the daycare. I would go work out. I would run some errands if I need to run a commissary, whatever, off base real quick, get things that I need to do, and then I come back. So 6 days a week, I worked out. Baby, I lost. Not only did I get back to my original weight, I gained 40 pounds, I lost 50. So yeah. Then they were like, "You losing more weight?" Then they had something to say about that too. So that was the pregnancy through the first, couple months of having a baby. And it was an adjustment. I'm not going to lie, y'all. It was an adjustment. One thing that I did not do, I think that helped my son and myself also, is that I put him in a bassinet right next to my bed. I did not put him in the bed with me. And I think from day one of those things, what that really did was it gave him some independence. And he has been that way his whole life, very independent. And I think because too of having older parents, he has like an old soul. And people, when they first meet him, they always say that. Like, "Oh, wow, this kid has such an old soul." And he was reading at age 3. I only gave him educational books. I would read to him every day. Even when he was in the womb, I would read to him and sing, nursery rhymes and all the things. But another thing that I did when I was pregnant, see these beads? These were given to me by company Otter Spirit. And I believe in nature. I garden, I do all the things. And I believe in gemstones. I have faith. I have certain beliefs. and walking with your bare feet on the ground and grounding and feeling the energy of the earth. There's something about that. Reading the word, but also having protection. If I could have something that helped protect me, protect my baby, I did all the things, including wearing my stones. And I literally, I was on my hands and knees every day, y'all. Even after he was born, I was like, God, you gave me this baby. You gotta keep us strong at this point. And so that's what I did. And I took him everywhere, everywhere. This child to this day has been to gourmet restaurants, from steakhouses to French restaurants. He's traveled the world. He's at age 5, 6, he traveled internationally. He's done all the things, y'all. And I thank God for that, for giving me the wisdom and just standing by me and blessing my family. I've also been blessed with jobs. I did eventually left that job and started working for a veteran organization. It's also family oriented. And then for another organization as well, family oriented. And I've just been very blessed in that respect. I had to think about schools when it came time for him to go to daycare. You know, he was in daycare from age 5 weeks old. Daycare was one thing, but then when I started thinking about elementary school, he went on to another daycare that prepared him for elementary school. Then when he went to elementary school, where is he going to go to school? Because by that time we moved to Georgia. And I had to learn the whole school system in Georgia. Was I going to put him in private school? And I knew I went to private school for a little while, and I didn't think that I wanted to put him in private school for other reasons. And did not do that. He went to public school. He also, in Georgia, they have charter schools. He ended up at a charter school that was an agricultural school. When I tell y'all, I couldn't have dreamed up a better situation. I could not have dreamed of, literally right down the road from my house, goes to a charter school. There's an agricultural school. And now the child loves computers, okay? Now he goes to a high school that is a STEM high school where he gets to learn game design, his dream, not my dream. Now that's his dream. He gets to go to a high school. So when you're thinking about having that child or children, you have to think about all of the things, the environment that they're going to grow up in. You know, what type of life do you want to raise your child in? And that really does matter. It really matters. But I want you all to not just hear my perspective, I want you to hear a child's perspective. And I want you to hear the partner's perspective, so my husband's perspective, about being a parent, a male parent, older parent. You know, because the thing is that I was really worried about whether people would judge me or what I would look like when am I going to look like his great grandparent, you know, showing up by the time he graduates high school and that sort of thing. And honestly, no disrespect to the other parents, but we don't look too much different than they do, honestly. So, and I laugh and I chuckle at that, but yeah, I don't think we look too much different. And my husband's brother just found out he's going to be a great grandfather, and he's 61. So he ain't so, keen on that because he think he's still hip and cool. And as my husband does, and but it's good. It helps to keep us young. But I will tell y'all this part with the high school, it started in junior high. I could help him with his schoolwork and even social studies, English, which they call ELA, all of that. And that's his best subject. He loves to read. Math, baby, once you get past the arithmetic and the division, all of that, I can do some fractions, simple algebra. Once you get past that, we get a tutor. So he has a math tutor because that he doesn't really like math. That's his worst subject, his weakest subject. And so he does have tutoring for that. So that's something that you may have to think about, is that what skill level do you have with helping them with the homework? Because the homework, the projects, the science fairs, and I didn't even know there was a thing called a social studies fair. Who knew about a social studies fair? Then the travel. Okay, that's a whole nother subject. There's travel involved. These children nowadays are traveling globally in elementary and junior high, and definitely high school. Get your coins together. Get your coins to. Give me this. Get your coins together. For 8th grade, they had an 8th grade trip. Universal Studios has what's called Grad Venture. I will pop some video in for you guys. It's called Grad Venture. And 20,000, hear me good, 20,000 8th graders in the month of May come to Universal Studios to celebrate the end of middle school. They also have it for seniors, but who knew the 8th graders were doing these things? Prior to that, his school went to Dubai, and they went to the year before, and then they went to South Africa. So get your coins together, parents. Yeah, the kids are out there. They're traveling. Yeah. Y'all, we didn't even get into the whole amusement parks, the birthdays. Look, birthday parties. I had to decide after the first birthday party. We had a dual birthday party. I talked to you about. We had, I was pregnant during the same time as a couple of other women in my office, female soldiers. We had baby shower together, and we ended up having a dual 1-year-old birthday party for the 2 babies. They were 2 days apart. They ended up being born 2 days apart. And let me tell you, after that experience of you got to do all the things for the first birthday party, I said, no. He won't have another. I'm not going to be one of those parents who's going to have a party every year. He's going to have a party the first year, maybe 5th year, when he turns double digits, which is 10. Then when he turns to a teenager, which will be 13, officially a teenager at 13, and then maybe 16, and then 18, right? And his 21st birthday, I may pitch in with that, but he's on his own, right? Hopefully that's like, if he chooses to go to college, then that'll be a college graduation party around the same time, what have you. So that's what I did. Actually, he didn't have one at age 5 because we had some other family issues going on during the same time. But he did have a big 6th birthday party. And at one of those trampoline places. And that's the thing with having a baby is that, and having a kid, is you have a party, and if you want other people to come to your party, you have to go to their party. So baby, you got to have a whole budget for, if your kid is popular, you and your child are popular people, yeah, y'all going, or you got a lot of family, you're going to a lot of birthday parties and you're inviting a lot of people. And then the thing with the birthday parties is, it seems like to me nowadays it's not about the kid, it's an adult party. When the adults come, maybe they don't want pizza, they don't want pizza, they don't want hot dogs and hamburgers. Where's the lamb chops? Where's the bar? It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Then you have the spring break. Let's start from the beginning of the year. You have days out, at least the school system here, you have days out every single month. So as a parent, you have to figure out, what are you going to do with your kid on those days that are those random days that they have out every month. If you don't have buses, we don't have school buses here. So you got to get your kid to school and you got to pick them up. Or you're getting a phone call. Yeah. So hopefully you have a job that's understanding that you're a parent. I had someone tell me adulting. I was like, what the hell is that? What is help? That's what you have to say to me? Okay. And that's a whole nother conversation. Then you have fall break. You have winter break. No, you have Thanksgiving. Fall break, then there's a Thanksgiving break. Fall break is a whole week. That's before Thanksgiving. That's not Thanksgiving. That's before Thanksgiving. That's in October. Then November, you have a week out for Thanksgiving. 2 weeks out for Christmas. 2 to 3 weeks, depending on your school system. 2 to 3 weeks out. Right? Then you coming right back, you're out for MLK Day. Then you have one or so teacher days out in February, March. In April, spring break. Then May, they're out of school. Spring break is a whole thing. All of these breaks, I decided I'm taking off. He's out, I'm out. And thank goodness I had a job that I was able to do that. And I had enough leave, I could do that. If there were fairs at the school, I had community builder hours, I could take off and help out at the school. To be involved in the PTO. Did you know it's not called PTA anymore? It's PTO. Yeah. So, because it's a nonprofit organization. So, you can write off the things that you give to the PTO on your taxes. Yeah. It's a whole thing now. And there's so many things that are involved with having a child. And it really depends on how involved of a parent, the type of parent you want to be, that you have to think about. So again, we're going to let you all hear from the kiddo himself. And I wanted you to have that perspective because I had a comment. I did a video on Instagram about having a baby over the age of 40. And it was a comment from a young man who stated that he wished that his parents would have had him sooner. And it broke my heart. So I want you to hear from my kid, his experience. And I think that he's had a great life. Personally, I think that I wish I had his life. And also from my husband. Okay, so I want to let you know too, I didn't have the village. You know, they say it takes a village. I didn't have a village. I had no family. I was on the military base. I was working as a civilian worker, and I had no family around. I had an aunt who lived in Houston, 3 hours away, but she was in her 70s at the time. I didn't have any family. So it's a daycare on base. Watched him Monday through Friday and for a couple hours on Saturdays. I could hire care, and if it allowed, if wherever I went allowed for children to be there, restaurants, hotels, whatever, he went with me. So he went to hails and farewells. You know what that is, when soldiers coming on or when they're leaving, you have celebration. He went to conferences. He went to everything to this day. So when he was really little, I would go to military balls. And every year here in Georgia, we have the Veterans Day ball. When he was really small, like 3, 4, 5 years old, I would, a friend of mine, once I moved here to Georgia, had a little more support. So a friend of mine, I would get two hotel rooms. And she would stay in one, and she would watch him at the ball for me while I was at the ball. Now, ever since he was 10, I think for the last 4 years, 4 or 5 years or so, he's gone to the ball. Y'all. He has his own little tuxedo. He has a tuxedo. He goes to the ball. Well, he's outgrown them over the years, but had to buy more than one. But yeah, he goes to the ball. He goes to galas with us. If it allows for children, he comes with us. But the good thing about that is that he is prepared. He knows how. People come up to me all the time. Damn, like, your son is sitting here in a tuxedo cutting his steak with, his filet mignon with a knife and a fork. Yeah, he uses a knife and a fork at home. We sit down and have dinner no later than 6 o'clock as a family. Since forever. Let me tell you something else. My son has no filter. Children don't have filters. He tells all my business. Like, I can't take him to a doctor's appointment because one time I took him to a doctor's appointment, okay? And then I stopped at a store. He told the cashier, like, everything that I was at the doctor's office for. Like, and he has no problem in telling me how old I am, reminding me how old I am. Zero filter. And as they get older, forget about wanting to coddle them it used to be I had to try to keep him in the house. He always wanted to go outside when he was little. Now, can you go outside? Can you let some air hit you? Can you let some water hit you? Teenage years, I think, are the hardest years. Just to say, you don't have to just only worry about when they're little babies. You gotta have that forethought. Are you gonna be able to handle the teenage years? Yeah. So let me tell you what happens in the teenage years. And this is not just my son. I talk to other parents, and this is going on with boys and girls. The electronics. I kept electronics from him as long as I could. I only allowed him to use things that helped him to learn, like leapfrog and that kind of thing initially. I think once he turned 7, 8, somewhere between 8 and 10, somewhere between there, he ended up getting, I think he was 10 years old. He was 10 when he got his first video game set, I believe. And yeah, now what he does is he sneaks and finds it in the middle of the night. We literally have locked him out of his room. Instead of taking things out of his room, it was almost easier to keep him out of his room or try to take the things out of his room. Hey, but that didn't work. That boy stayed up all night with a flashlight reading a book. He still stayed up all night. All night. It's a fight to get him to go to sleep. Then he low crawls. He low crawls on the floor to the pantry where he eats snacks all night. In the morning, I find things in his trash can in his room. He's eating all night. So you say, okay, I'm not going to buy any snacks. It doesn't matter. He's going to find something, cereal, bread. He's going to find something to eat, something, and he's going to eat it all night. So just keeping up with the ever-changing parental controls, you got to stay on top of the technology because they're 10 steps ahead of you already. And speaking of the homework, the grades are also electronic now. There's no more bringing home, where's your report card? No. Everything is tracked electronically. All of the assignments, the syllabus. I was like, syllabus? I didn't have something that said a syllabus until I was in college. No, darling. All things are electronic. So if you're not a tech savvy person, you might want to get a tutor. You might want to get a tutor. Y'all, here he comes. I heard the garage door. All right, y'all. So we got the kid here. We're going to get his perspective. Then we're going to talk to the old guy. So, AJ, we want to get a child's perspective on having older parents, because I had a comment from a young guy said that he wished that his parents had him younger so he could have experienced having young parents. And I don't know how old his parents were. I don't know if they passed away young, relatively young, and he didn't have enough time with them. But yeah, how has it impacted you? Do you feel different than the other kids and their parents?
No, not really. It's like you guys are in that midlife range. Like you guys are like both like 50 something. So like you guys aren't too old or too young.
But you've gotten to do a lot. You traveled across the United States. You travel internationally. We go to parties. You go to adult parties. You go to adult restaurants. Like we just went to a steakhouse. How many kids go to a steakhouse and order a $35 hamburger?
Not a lot.
He's got fancy taste. He likes truffle fries. He can hold a conversation with adults. You use the knife and two people always talking about how you use the knife and fork, right? They freak out when they see that. Well, no. Probably no.
Just use your hands?
Well, probably just use the fork. Or they probably just use a fork, but not, sitting down using a knife and fork, especially even at home even.
I mean, yeah, use just a fork for spaghetti and cake and stuff.
But then you cut your meat with a knife and fork.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he knows to get a steak knife with his steak. So, but that was the main thing I wanted you all to see, is that you don't have to worry. Now, the thing, like I said, he does tease me. He calls me old. Yeah, he calls us old. He makes fun of us. So we get that. And then you got to stay on top of your parental controls, and because they're going to test you. They're going to know more than you do about technology. And got to stay on top of them jokers. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, come on over and talk to us.
What y'all want?
What do y'all want? Oh, wait, he tall. We got to move it up for him. Come on over. So, Craig, you just turned 54. Your brother, he has his siblings, so one's 12 years older than him. And she was like a parent to him, but he has a brother who's 61, who's now a great grandfather. And we were just teasing him. He was like, he's not ready. So, Craig, how does it feel though that you still, all your siblings are done with kids? They raising great grandkids, not grandkids, great grandkids. So, how do you feel though you still got a child in school? You got a 32-year-old, but you also got a 14-year-old at home. You know, you could have been done in your 40s, but you were there changing blowout diapers.
That's not good.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Not good.
And then the thing that we always have, you know, you look back and you're like, wow, I could have been done and traveling the world, you know, without a kid, not having to think about when a child has to be at school and, you know, or going to birthday parties that you don't really want to go to, y'all, it's for real. Being around all the little kids with the runny noses and all the things, and they go to school and they come back with germs. Just the other day, he came home with some kind of rash. Yeah. But I think that it has helped keep us young. It helps keep us with that growth mindset because we have to sit down and make him do his homework. So we have to sit down and look at it and learn all the things, learn all the different parental portals and from school and all the things. And how do you feel? You able to keep up?
Well, I think we can. I think we are keeping up with everything that's going on. I think that we are adjusting to, yes, he's still a kid. And he's not the kid from the kid that I grew up with. It's a whole different a scenario. So now hardest thing is try to adapt to how kids are today, what they need, what they're used to, because it's not our childhood, which is totally different. So now is theirs, and it's electronics, and it's this, that, and other. Whereas we can give us a bag of rocks and we go outside and have fun. Right. Them, on the other hand, they're in the house with a screen in their face.
Yeah.
And it just drives me crazy because
you want them to get outside. Yeah, we always told to go outside.
Yeah.
And it was one point where you had to try to keep him inside because he was determined to get outside.
Then COVID came and
yeah,
he got a device, and I didn't know this was here.
And now we can't get him out. We can't get him to go to sleep.
Yep.
I told y'all, he's in the pantry eating up everything all night.
Hey, my body said, hey, if you want to stay up, go and eat something. I got your back.
And now he's in that growth spurt where I have to buy clothes twice a year. So, yeah.
Or just do like our parents did. Put it on anyway.
let it ride around your ankles.
Let it ride around your ankles.
We all heard it from both sides. So, here we go. All right, so I'm about to cook these guys something to eat. But thank you all for watching, and let me know, comment below if you like this type of content. You know, I talk about multi-generational living. Sometimes my mother is here with me. Sometimes I have great nieces, not nieces and nephews, but great nieces and nephews. I don't have any grandchildren yet. We do have a daughter that's in her 30s, early 30s, but she doesn't have kids. But I have nieces and nephews who have children, so sometimes they are here, and we have this whole multi-generational thing going on. My husband just had his 54th birthday, and yeah, we have multiple generations in the house, and it's a beautiful thing. So let me know if that's something that you want more of, and I'm happy to bring it to you. So I hope this video was helpful. Having a child at whatever age is a challenge. No child is cookie cutter. No situation is cookie cutter. And no one can fully prepare you for what you might endure as a parent. There are going to be things that you're going to have to figure out as the time goes along, right? But it's nice to have a forethought and have conversations about it with someone. And I just hope that my experience helps to answer some kind of question, some of the questions that you may have. So I'll continue to show y'all my journey of raising my son, who is 14. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Just in him calling me old every day. Okay, old lady. Yeah. So I have to go through that. And it's a challenge with keeping up with the technology, with all the things, because I can't rely on what it was like when I was a kid to raise him, because he's growing up in a whole new world than I knew as a child. So you just have to take every moment as it comes. That's my best advice. If you're choosing to do this, take every moment. Take it day by day and moment by moment, and learn from each moment going forward. Really the best advice I can give you, because if you're having a baby today, I don't know what it's going to be like 14 years from now. The world's advancing so fast, and it's going to be even more challenges in the future. So thank y'all for watching. Stay tuned, because my saga continues. Leave a comment. Leave a comment. I know y'all don't want to put your personal stuff out there like I am, but leave a comment and let me know. Or if you have questions that you don't want others to see, feel free to go over onto Instagram, follow me over there, and leave a comment over there in my DM if you have a question that you don't want someone else to see, because it is a personal choice, right? And it can be a personal, it's very personal. And so I totally understand if someone doesn't want to leave a public comment or question. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching, and God bless y'all in your own individual personal journeys. See y'all in the next video.